Sure, here's a 2,500-word YouTube-style article for your story idea, written with cinematic pacing, emotional storytelling, and dialogue that pulls viewers in from the first line. Pretend we're married for a month, said Alexander Gray, the cold, composed CEO of Gray Enterprises, a man whose every word carried the weight of power. Sitting across from him, the young Nanny blinked, unsure if she'd heard him right. "Excuse me, sir, married?" she asked softly, clutching the hem of her faded uniform. "Yes," he replied, his jaw tightening. "It's just for the cameras, to protect the company. You'll be well compensated." For a moment, the world stood still for Emily Carter. She was a single mother, barely making ends meet, caring for her sick little boy while working day and night as the CEO's nanny. But she never imagined that the man who barely looked her in the eye would make such a request. Gray Enterprises had been built by Alexander's late father, a man of honor and discipline. But lately, tabloids had been feasting on Alexander's private life. "Heartless CEO can't keep a family together," the headlines screamed, following his messy breakup with his ex-fiancée, who accused him of being incapable of love. Investors panicked, shares plummeted, and now, the company's biggest merger was at stake, one that required the image of a family-oriented man. So Alexander did what he'd never done before, asked for help. And the only woman he could trust was his son's nanny. Emily wanted to say no. It was absurd, dangerous, unreal. But then she thought of her 5-year-old son, Noah, lying in the hospital bed 2 nights ago, whispering, "Mommy, when will I get better?" She needed the money. She needed hope. "I'll do it," she said quietly. "But only for a month." Alexander nodded, extending his hand. "Then we have a deal." And just like that, 2 broken souls entered a contract that would change everything. The next morning, the news broke: Alexander Gray, the elusive billionaire CEO, secretly married his son's nanny. Cameras swarmed their mansion gates. Reporters camped outside the company building. And through it all, Emily held Alexander's hand and smiled, the kind of warm, genuine smile that no amount of PR training could fake. "She makes him human," one reporter whispered as flashbulbs went off. For the first time, Alexander didn't mind the attention. But behind closed doors, the arrangement wasn't easy. Alexander lived by rules, routines, and restraint. Emily, on the other hand, believed in heart, faith, and hope. Their worlds collided at every turn, from breakfast arguments about syrup on pancakes to late-night boardroom rehearsals for interviews. And yet, somewhere between their staged dinners and fake kisses for the press, something real began to bloom. It was subtle at first, a lingering glance, a quiet thank you, a gentle smile when he saw her comforting his son. Emily reminded him of everything he'd lost, and everything he still longed for. One evening, as rain poured over the city, Emily found Alexander sitting in his study, staring at a photograph of his late father. "You miss him," she said softly, setting down a cup of coffee. He didn't answer at first. Then, with a sigh, he whispered, "He believed love made a man strong. I believed it made him weak. Maybe I was wrong." Emily smiled faintly. "Love doesn't make you weak, Mr. Gray. It makes you human." For the first time, he looked at her, really looked at her. The woman who had walked into his mansion as a nanny was now holding his world together. Days turned into weeks. Investors regained trust. The merger succeeded. The company's image was restored. But Alexander's heart was now in turmoil. The month was almost over, and the line between real and pretend had blurred beyond recognition. At a charity gala, under shimmering chandeliers, Emily appeared in a simple navy gown that took his breath away. As cameras flashed, Alexander took her hand and whispered, "I know this is all pretend, but tonight, can it be real?" Her eyes softened. "It's always felt real to me." They danced, the world fading away around them. But reality struck the next morning. Emily overheard Alexander's assistant on a call, discussing how the contract marriage would end tomorrow, and how a press statement was already prepared. Her heart sank. Had she been foolish enough to believe in something that was never meant to last? That night, she packed her bags. When Alexander returned home, the house was silent. Only a note remained on the table. Thank you for letting me see the man behind the title. I hope one day, you'll find the courage to love for real, Emily. His hands trembled as he read the letter. For the first time in years, the powerful CEO felt helpless. The deal was over. The cameras were gone, but the emptiness that followed was unbearable. Days passed. The merger was finalized. The company thrived, but Alexander was miserable. Every time he saw a mother walking her child across the street, he thought of Emily and Noah. Every time he passed the nursery, he heard their laughter echoing in the halls. Finally, one afternoon, he drove to the small apartment she'd moved into. Rain fell again, just like the night she first said yes. When she opened the door, surprise flashed in her eyes. Mr. Gray. He shook his head. Alexander, he said softly. It's Alexander. He took a deep breath. The month is over, but I don't want to pretend anymore. Not about the company. Not about us. I don't want a contract. I want a real marriage, if you'll have me. Tears welled in her eyes. Are you sure this isn't just another PR move? He smiled, stepping closer. I don't care about the headlines anymore. I care about the woman who taught me how to be human again. Noah peeked from behind his mother, holding a small toy car. Are you staying for dinner, Mr. Gray? Alexander knelt, his voice breaking. Only if I can stay forever. Emily's tears turned into laughter as she nodded, and for the first time, they embraced not as a CEO and a nanny, but as a family. Months later, Gray Enterprises held its annual charity ball. The theme, Hope Begins at Home. Alexander stood on stage, his arm around Emily, thanking his employees not just for their loyalty, but for reminding him that compassion was the true foundation of success. And as applause filled the hall, he turned to his wife, yes, wife, and whispered, "You saved more than my company. You saved me." Emily smiled, eyes glistening. "I just reminded you how to love." The lights dimmed, music swelled, and the story of the single dad CEO who fell for his nanny became more than a headline. It became a legend about second chances, love beyond contracts, and the courage Toha.